This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like HomeTalk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, HomeTalk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, welcome, America! That's right, it's always about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know that yourself. Tell you, we're all back in the studio now. We're, straight from Market Week. ASD Market Week is the Inventor Lady herself. She's back behind Master Control in the studio. Welcome, Miss Rita, straight from the ASD Market Week. How you doing, Rita?
Oh, we're doing fine, kind of recovering, but holy cow, that didn't last very long because we have had more business calls and more of our inventors call and say, hey, I've got this guy calling me. What do I do? It was an amazing week. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, you had some amazing interviews that we did from there, and we had a lot of great response when we aired it, and it was just a great time you had. We had.
The buyers there, and it was funny because, the inventors would say, but everybody here is a wholesaler. I said, you are a wholesaler. Oh, I didn't realize that. So it's like, no, wear that wholesaler, hat because you are here. You're trying to sell your product to a buyer for a store that's going to be the retailer. So you are, in essence, the wholesaler. And it's like, oh, my God, I got so much to learn. And so, we would get feedback on it and, price points and interest and some really good ideas on some of the products that were, patent pending. They had prototypes and, the one set, and he's going to be on today. So I'm going to let him tell the story. But just amazing stuff. We had people there selling product. One of the other guys that's going to be on, he was trying to, there was a lot of the final sales of products. They were, getting rid of closeouts. They were doing their closeouts. So he was doing closeouts, but in the process of getting everything to me for his closeouts, he had a couple of other ones that he picked up from us that he wants to license. So it was just amazing. ASD stands for Affordable Shopping Destination. I think that we should convince them to rename it America Stands Determined.
I like that. And I tell you, and this is the first time that we attended the show, right?
It is.
Yeah, we broadcast, yeah.
It is, and they were so wonderful to work with. Now, for anybody out there that's got a product, any kind of product, it was amazing, the variety of products they had. They've got another show coming up in August. We will not be going to that one, but as sponsors for the radio show, we told them that we would promote their August show, even though we won't be back until March. So, yes, they were wonderful. And, people are serious when they go there, Michael. They're buyers. They want to buy.
Yeah. They're not tire kickers.
Exactly. It's
they
not
don't kick them tires.
They're not just looky-loos. They're just, they're serious about buying. They've got stores, they've got retail. It was so exciting.
Well, unfortunately, you're going to be in the studio next week for me because I'm going to have to hop that big bird and go to the National Hardware Show next week. So I'm going to be out there covering that again. And but it's a time of year when we have to get out of that studio and go check out the technologies and check out the technologies of the future, right, Rita?
Right, absolutely. I mean, this is showtime. And for our inventors, I think one of the most important things that they learned is that face-to-face, everything is still face-to-face. Yeah, we can all do e-commerce, and, you can go and buy online and fill an order from the grocery store. But when you're trying to get a product out there, there is nothing that beats the eye-to-eye contact, shaking a hand, seeing their excitement over the new product. And that is what everybody said. It's like, oh, my God, it just would not have been the same if we had not been standing here.
Now, tell us a little bit about the show today.
So today we've got some follow-up to ASD, next steps for two of the inventors, and then one is Kevin Cody with FLI Products. Like I said, he had us take products for him that were his closeouts, but he's looking at picking up some additional products now that were our inventors. And so there were a lot of things going on at that show. So we had one gentleman that was just there taking orders. He's going to be on first. Then we had another gentleman that had feedback for his product. He's looking at next steps. Should he manufacture? Is he just going to go into licensing? So everybody was there kind of with a little bit different tilt to their hat. And we learned a lot, enjoyed a lot with the people who were there. It was very educational for a lot of our inventors. So when we say we literally signing people up for, next year already for the March 2025, people are saying, I want to be on the list. I want to go again. And the people that we had out there that filled in as sales staff were excellent.
Well, good. And I hope we get some of them exhibitors on the show in the future. I know we're going to be working on them and see if we can get some interviews from them, from the floor.
Well, our show next week, we're going to focus on, there was a lot of e-commerce going on that had a class for doing e-commerce, and it was 200 people from Amazon wanting to become Amazon sellers. Well, that's not necessarily who you want to use. Amazon is very predatory these days. So our expert next week is going to be selling on TikTok Shop. And she's going to work with people on how do you go in and buy products there? Why is it a better platform? And then two of our inventors that are on are ones that are doing e-commerce right now. I know that Jenny Salimi, she's been on the show before, but she had her first wholesale sale ever. And she was so excited. But she is using now some of the e-commerce, and we were, hit pretty hard with Amazon, and everybody said, wait a minute, but it has become very predatory. There's a lot of fees involved for inventors. So there are other options, and that's what we're going to talk about next week. Well,
good. Well, I know we're going to keep putting it out there, and if you are, like you said, if you have if you're thinking about an idea, or if you have a product, or regardless of which stage of the project you're in, give us a call, right? Because we can help you.
Absolutely.
I keep telling you, I hope we can get these entrepreneurs and inventors and all these brainchild people, and I hope we can get to them before they spend all their money. And they ain't got no money because they wasted all their money.
Exactly. I had inventors coming up to me. I mean, we always did when we went to the National Hardware Show, have inventors come around. I didn't know that it would be the same way at ASD, but there were a ton of inventors who came up and said, can you help me? How do we get, our product into the marketplace? Can I come with you next year? And ASD was very supportive of that being the innovation. There was no other innovative area at the show. And it's a 3-floor show. It's huge. And so with us there now as being the Innovation Award, and we're going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks, where we'll have the people who won the Innovation Award on as the winners and be able to talk about their products. So, yay, right. I hear the music.
All right, I got you trained, man. You're like a trained seal, man. You're like a trained seal.
Oh, yes.
Woo. That's the music.
I get to dance around and eat some Cajun food. Yay.
Yeah, I tell you. All right, if you just joined us, we are broadcasting back in the studios. This is Home Talk USA radio program. This is the Invent America part of our show. You're listening to the Inventor Lady herself, along with the Cajun contractor, Michael King. What a duo. What a combination, I tell you. But stay tuned. We're going to be right back with our guests, our topics. Stay tuned right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network at GCNlive.com.
Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
All right, welcome back. That's right. We are broadcasting from the studios of the Home Improvement Broadcasting Studios in the Big Easy. This is Home Talk USA. This is the Invent America part of our show. Rita, who's our first guest?
Our first guest today is John Hagerman. He invented mobile, and I'm going to have him tell you what it is exactly. But John was at the ASD Market Week with us, and he had a great show. He was in a great spot with the Invent America Inventors. And John, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for going to the show with us, and thank you for being with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much, Rita.
And so, I was joking around. I said, well, you better be careful what you say. I might convince you to come back with us again next year. But you were able to be there and take orders. Not all of the inventors could take orders. Tell our listeners a little bit about mobile, what it is, and then, share that experience of why being face-to-face is so valuable.
I'll be happy to. Mobile is the name came about because it's a mobile bowl primarily for pets, for people that are active, for example, with their dogs. And it's a very, very lightweight pouch and bowl. The pouch or the bowl folds up and fits inside this little pouch. The pouch has a Velcro strap on it to be attached to the dog's collar, harness, or leash. Ladies especially like it because it fits neatly in their purse, and it only weighs, bowl and pouch, 1.7 ounces. So it holds 2 cups of water or food, and people really like it because of its simplicity. And so, and yes, we were able to take some orders. I wish there had been more pet stores there. But I did make some very, very interesting contacts at the show, especially for international sales, and found a new use for our product. So it can actually overall I'd say successful.
Yeah, you had to have some additional order forms printed because people were taking them, which is always a good sign. If they walk away without it, they're not going to fill it out. But you did have, and I think almost everybody there had some suggestions on either different industries to sell in, improvements, especially when they just had prototypes. I know the one thing that I found amazing about your bowl was actually how sturdy it is. So, for a big dog that's going to hit it, and, it doesn't knock over.
No, it doesn't.
It's pretty much, it flexes, but it doesn't tip over and spill. You've done an amazing job getting that thing anchored correctly in its weight.
Yes.
For, 1.5 ounces or thereabouts. It's a good size. I could use it with my Huskies. And I think that's where, when we talk about virtual, you don't get to see it like you were demoing it.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And being face-to-face with the customer, what I enjoy doing is showing them the bowl inside the pouch, showing them the Velcro strap, and then opening up and asking them to hold out their hand. And when they do, I set the bowl in their hand, and it just pops. And most of the time, it frightens them a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And they oh my gosh, this thing just pops right up and it folds back down. And they're just amazed at how easy it is to work with.
Well, I know that, when we take our dogs somewhere and they are actually drinking water out of the McDonald's cup, I would much rather have the mobile for them to drink out of.
Yes.
And so it makes total sense. It's a good product. The other avenue that you're considering was a very interesting one as well.
Yes, I had a lady stop by who has her own business, but she's also, I guess, the president of this government agency in San Diego that feeds the homeless. And she said to me, "You are the needle in the haystack I've been looking for." And they want to purchase these bowls and pouch for the homeless to feed them, because right now, apparently, it's paper, styrofoam, whatever, and my guess is it probably doesn't see the landfill. And this way, these unfortunate people will have this with them all the time and make it a lot easier to provide meals for these people. And talking with some other people, they think this could really catch on, especially going up the coast, whether it's to L.A., San Francisco, Seattle, even some of the Midwest countries, the Mexican border. So I think we have a whole new avenue of being able to get this bowl out there for different types of applications. I know hikers love our bowl because it is so lightweight. And the nice thing that hikers have told me about it is that after they reconstitute their dehydrated food and finish the meal in the bowl, they turn it inside out and lick it clean to provide them with all the nutrients necessary, because on a hike, that's what's very, very important, is the nutrients.
Absolutely, absolutely. And see, there might have been, God works in mysterious ways. If you'd been at a different show, you wouldn't have met that person, and you could have missed this whole opportunity.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know, right? So you were there for a reason, John. And I want to thank you so much for being on today. We are going to take a quick break here and go pay some bills and offer a huge thank you to GCN Network for being our home and the father of Invent America, Michael King himself. So stay with us. We've got another guest coming up, and we will be right back.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. We're talking right now to Chuck Vaughan. He went with us to ASD Market Week. His wife, Andrea, is the inventor of the Pet Traveler on Wheels, but she was not able to be there, so he went. Oh, Chuck, you were an amazing part of the team. Thank you so much for being there.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Tell our listeners about Pet Traveler on Wheels.
Well, this product came about as a result of some visits to a kennel that we go to fairly regularly. And the lady would ask us to put all the individual meals into a Ziploc bag, label it. And so last year we went away for about a week, and so we're carrying this satchel full of all these Ziploc bags, and it just got us thinking on our drive to South Carolina. It's like, there must be a better way. So that got the wheels turning.
Isn't that the mother of all invention? There must be a better way? Yeah. I hear that so often from inventors. It's like, well, I was doing this, and I figured there's got to be a better way.
And it evolved over time, but it over a couple of weeks of talking about it and being away from home, it gave us a chance to sort of think it through.
Excellent, excellent. So being at the show, you got a lot of feedback because you had, the one really beautiful prototype, so it did show very well. People get it instantly. Almost everybody's got a dog or a cat, and everybody needs to have dog care, cat care come somewhere. So what did you learn? What were some of the suggestions that people gave you?
Well, there were a couple of design suggestions and things that I had thought about as well, and Andrea and I were working on this in our basement. And but what we had to do for the prototype, of course, was to make something presentable to convey the idea right away, as you said. So I think the approach of materials would be a little different. So that was one suggestion, or a couple of suggestions that we received for it. And one company in particular came up with some ideas that could improve upon what we had done. But they liked the idea very much, and we got a lot of positive feedback. I was very pleased with the responses we received.
Well, and for a lot of inventors, when you go to the show and you've got one or two prototypes, and there were several of you there who just had the prototypes in your hand, it gives you that opportunity to get some ideas, to get the feedback so that you say, oh, let's think about doing it this way. And then you're not so far along in the intellectual property that you cannot make changes to it, which is kind of where you guys are. You can file a CIP. You can be able to say, all right, are we covered under this? Before you get into, if you decide to do a short-run manufacturing or you license it, and then the licensee looks at what you filed and they say, this isn't going to cover it. So you're at a good spot.
Yep, and I thought it was good time for us. It was a bit of a rush to get it ready, but I think it all came together fairly well. And we got the responses that we were hoping for, I think, and hoped for. But I think there's going to be some good ideas for improvement, and definitely that'll be something we can incorporate if we need to do a CIP.
So what's next for you guys?
Well, I think primarily is to follow up with a couple of the companies that expressed some serious interest and at least curiosity about the product. And I think a licensing agreement would be probably preferred at this point in time. We don't have the resources to go out and manufacture on our own at this point, but that's certainly one of the options.
Well, and that's, when you talk about the resources, even for some inventors who do have the resources, there's a whole skill set that is involved. Manufacturing is a full-time job. All right, well, marketing is a full-time job. And, okay, so which one of those are you going to deal with? And, marketing is different than selling, which is also a full-time job. And so when I get inventors say, I just want to start a company, well, are you going to be the CEO of the company or the chief marketing officer of the company or, chief manufacturing officer of the company? Which one are you going to do and who are you going to fill in? Because they're all going to want a piece of you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that makes a lot of sense, too. And there's certain portions of that I think we would like to be involved with, perhaps, but it just sort of depends on how it all unfolds.
Well, and that's the fun part about, going into licensing. A lot of times you get to pick the good parts to still participate in. You're always in charge of the product design or any improvements. You can still go to shows and show the product, which is what most inventors want to do, is to be able to talk about it. I had one gentleman that licensed his product years ago, so he was going to get a royalty on every one sold, but the company hired him to be a salesman as well, and they paid him to drive back forth across the country in his RV because it was an RV product. And so he was a happy duck. He was getting ready to retire from his day job and started, it's like, well, I plan on driving my RV across the country anyway, and now I get paid to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, a lot of inventors still get to participate. You can pick and choose. Some say, you know what, I want to go to the beach. Don't bother me. And so then there's others that say, no, I enjoy this and I want to be part of it. One of the other ladies that did Disposal, Jeannie, years ago, she went to the trade shows and had a grand time selling the product, even though she had licensed it to Danco, who was putting it all in all the Home Depots and Lowe's in North America.
That's amazing. Yeah, it was a really well-run convention. Particularly, I appreciate the organization and effort that you had for the group that was there as well.
Well, thank you. I do enjoy it, and, over the years, learned a lot of things the hard way about getting, set up and how expensive it is, and it costs to breathe oxygen, almost. It's like, oh, you get one badge, but you got to pay for the rest of them. Oh, yeah, you can hook up one device for lead retrieval, but you got to pay for all the rest of them. And it's like, holy cow, you just need to have an open bank account and a big credit card to keep getting things moving in the right direction.
But it was a lot of fun. You guys really did a good job on coordinating.
Well, thank you. And we're going again next year. So, if you get to the point where you've got some of those made, or even if you're selling, we would love to have you again because you're an awesome part of the team. You might be able to convince your wife to come out too. Leave early, drive. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We have got our industry expert coming up in just a few minutes. Thank you for being with us, and stick by because Kevin Cody has got a different perspective because he had some closeouts there, and he was also going after some new products. So stick with us. We will be right back.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, America, thanks for joining us on Invent America, because America invents. And we enjoy helping all of these inventors learn the right way to do things, save your money, treat every dollar like it might be your last one, because you never know, and take the steps, do them wisely, and get that product out there. So if you've got questions, get in touch with me, Rita at InventorLady.com. It is easy. You can also do admin at invent-america.com, or you could just go to the website and shoot over the form, and I am happy to get back to you because it's going to drop right into my email box. So we can answer the questions, but for everybody else out there who is a consumer, oh yeah, we all are, support the American inventor by going to the website. They're all posted on our website, Invent-America. So, take a look, order your favorites. And with that, I want to introduce Kevin Cody. He had products at the show, but under a little bit different umbrella from the rest of our inventors, but some interesting steps in all of that. So, Kevin, thanks so much for being with us today. Thanks for having me. Tell our folks a little bit about FLI Products and, kind of the role that you were playing with your products out there.
Sure. Well, we're a small company. Other small companies come alongside other small companies and help them develop plans and products and marketing and branding and all sorts of other things that they may need for their products. And so this particular show was one that we wanted to take some of the products that we've had available and see what the price elasticity was. In other words, we wanted to know where our products fall in the competitive marketplace if we weren't getting the traction that we expected that we should. And this is a great kind of show to be able to do that with, because the exposure has a broad range of potential customers, and the pricing that people are looking at are things that they're dealing with to compare against the competition. And sometimes we get blindsided, with expectations of what a price should retail, what a product should retail at, but sometimes don't always know.
Yep, absolutely. And there's nothing like talking to another professional. And it was, we've mentioned it that, a lot of inventors says, well, everybody around here is a wholesaler. Yes, so are you. And so they don't even sometimes realize the role that they're playing now in this serious buying marketplace. And the, ASD Market Week, Affordable Shopping Destination, we want to change it to be, America stands determined and get these products out there, because one of the companies that was really interested in some of your products is Made in America. So we handed him all the flyers that said Made in America, and I will send you his contact and name. But another one was a gentleman that's based here in Tennessee, and just like you are. And they buy closeouts, and so he took flyers for everything, and then took the sell sheet for you. So you may end up hearing from Alex, is his name, but I'll send you that information as well. So it's in the process of figuring out, we've got inventors that are really early stages, and they're looking at price points, and then where you've got inventory and you're looking for kind of that balance. Are we still in the right spot?
Exactly. And, that's one of the quandaries that an awful lot of inventors in particular end up asking themselves at some point along the process, which is, how is the product that I'm introducing to market actually going to compete against other products that may function similarly, aren't the same in terms of their features and benefits, but may function similarly or be of a similar solution to another product, that consumers will need to know how the effective value is against your product. And one of the things that I learned early on in my retail world career was oftentimes we have to price products to the market and not to our manufacturing cost.
Exactly.
And that's when it gets really down into the dirty nitty-gritty of pricing.
Well, we're going to get you back on to talk more about that, and you better be careful. One of these days I'll have you as a sponsor. Thank you so much for being with us today. We're going to get on, because that is a topic I'm going to add to my list, because you're absolutely right, and we talk about the multiple of 5 all the time. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being with us.
You're very welcome.
Stick with us, folks, as we wrap up this hour of Invent America.
to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us today. We would like to thank our sponsors. Kicker Design. Kicker Design was at ASD Market Week. We got to see them, visit with them. They got to see some of the products that they've created, which is always really fun for an attorney or a manufacturer to see the finished product actually on sale someplace and people interested in it. So we want to thank them for being there. And we also want to thank Product Quick Start because we actually had several of the inventors there who had used Product Quick Start. So if you're out there and you need a tried and true service provider, shoot me over an email. I am more than happy to send it to you. If you've got questions about inventing, join us at the Inventor Roundtable meetings. They're free. And if you are an inventor and you'd like to be on the radio, fill out that form and send it to me because it is free to be on the radio as well and promote your product. We are happy to get them out there. So thanks, everyone, and America as sponsors in general. By being a consumer, you are awesome, and we cannot do this without you going and looking for those products and saying, hey, I want mobile. Hey, I want to get my hands on Eco Dripper. Hey, I want to get my hands on the Brazzle. Oh, those are cool products. So go to our website and check them out, everybody. Talk to you next week.
Home Talk USA with Michael King is produced by Home Talk Media in association with King's Broadcasting Network and Genesis Communications Network. Broadcast and streamed live from the great state of Louisiana. Host and producer, the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Executive producer, Michael Mellinson. Affiliate and sponsor relations, Joe Spera. Comptroller, Sheila Gregoire. Assistant producer, Christian Bethencourt. Board operators provided by Genesis Communications Network. And I'm your announcer, Kevin McCarthy. Music includes King's Creole by Prolific Arts, Cajun Jam by StockMusic.com, and Zydeco City by Steve Rice. Home Talk USA with Michael King is sponsored by Vaughan, pest solutions for your home, garden, and lawn. Decorators, take outdoor living beyond ordinary. Aztec Washer, innovative roofing solutions. Seal it right, seal it tight. Trimislab, replace rotten or missing wood with Trimislab expansion joint repair. Masonry Cosmetics, change the color of any porous masonry with proven masonry staining. Green Products Company, #1 in wood preservatives. Preserve, protect, and clean what you value, and most of all, make it last. Bond Products, manufacturers of InstaBind, the world's first do-it-yourself carpet binding solution. Deck Right, life is tough. Make your exterior flooring tougher. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Home Talk USA with Michael King. Until next time, visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com.
Yay!